Good evening, all. I'd like to start the testimony just reading one verse, just from Psalm 31, verse 4. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. I was very announced this here. He said young people at church was giving their testimony, so I'll leave it to your own wisdom. I grew up on a farm away just below Market Hill there, and my mother, she was been a church goer. My father, he didn't seem to have much interest in it, but I was always taken to church on a Sunday, and most regularly and went to Sunday school and all that, and but I would have learned the catechism and learned the parables and all that you do, going to Sunday school and all that there, but it just, to me, it was just something you learnt or something you done, and just didn't have any reality in my life at that time, and I can't remember it have. So just seemed to go on. You done that on Sunday, and on weekdays you went to school, and that's the way life seemed to be. You grew up in the country in a rural area, and everybody else seemed to be more or less doing the same sort of thing. So I never could say that I was ever burdened or convicted, and it was a Sunday evening, Sunday school. We went to it pretty regular too. Like, I'd have heard God's word and I'd have heard the things, but I never really took it in as a reality. And it's just something like just want the sort of thing just with a flow and that time. So different missions would have come up, maybe faith mission and things like that there, and more would have took us to them things too, like, but I would have heard, and yet I'd always said there was plenty of time, like, in life was a big long life, and you went to school 6 hours a day, and it was clock hardly moved, so I had some time to live the whole full life, and never was worried much about it. So I went on to teenage years, and you grew up into teenage years and started going to the odd dance, and the odd bit of alcohol, and an odd Friday night, and mostly Saturday nights, and you just got up the next morning, went to church, and on you went, and although if anybody would have asked me, did I want to go to heaven, or would you go to heaven, I would have said I wanted to, but I never had any desire to just put things right at that early age. So I went on and a wee bit like Kyle's testimony there, come till one morning my father took a stroke at 29 in the morning, 10 to 8 that night he was dead, and that reality hit me. I knew then what life was. It wasn't just a happy-go-lucky thing. I knew it was reality. I knew it was life and death, and it was heaven and hell, and I knew opportunity had gone and things had passed. So that was all right, but I'd say, looking back on it now, that's when God seemed to start speaking to my life and the reality of what it was all about. And as I heard different preachers and stuff, and I knew that there was a heaven and a hell. I knew that you had to get things and put them right. But by the time went on, seemed to get again, and you seemed to just nearly get into your old ways again. But then, it was about 2 years after that, then I was at dance one night and come on to maybe early hours of Sabbath morning. I was looking around and everybody seemed to be supposed to be enjoying themselves, and I just stopped and I looked at them and I says, "There has to be more to life than this. That's just no good." And funny, coming up to the previous that, the desire of drinking all was more or less gone. So I went home that night, and that was the last Saturday night dance, drink that I took. And so I had to sort of change my ways of going, and I started then, a few weeks then, started going to the left there, and getting new friends and getting in a different company. And I know then, nearly every Saturday night, it was all preached, gospel was always preached. And I know then the difference between right and wrong. I was on then to the end of that year then, 30 years of mission in a place called Points Pass. And him and now I'm on from Bondbridge, we man Herbie Fitzsimons. The two of them at the mission. And I knew the last night of that mission that I was on the conviction. And I knew it was for me that night. But I think there was a appeal given that night, but I hadn't the courage to put up my hand and said, I'll slip into the wee room going out through the door. But when out through the door into the wee room was closed. I went on out through the door. And whenever I went home, I knew I shouldn't have done that. So I thought to myself the next day, and I knew I was at a crossroads in life, and I was afraid of the opportunity passing. Maybe go a different road, get away altogether. So it come Sunday, and I must have got the wee man from Bondbridge who got his number, and I rang him and I went round to see him, and he talked over it with me. And that was the day I gave my life to the Lord. And the burden was lifted, and I knew I'd done the right thing. And I come home there and told my family and a few friends and some encouraged man. Some people thought they would hardly keep it, but between me and the Lord, we've kept it. And I confessed to my mouth, of course, Colette, she got to hear too, and she pricked her ears up. So then, one thing led to another then, so we started a date then. And of course, she'd been out singing different meetings. And if she wasn't singing, I went to different Sunday night meetings and started to grow in the Lord and heard things and started to pray and read and pray and get a personal relationship with God. And so then, as you all know, most of you know it, got married to Colette. And the Lord blessed us with 3 children. But for a year after, hardly a year after we got married, we got our first trial. And it was a personal trial, not an awful lot of people knew an awful lot about it. But sometimes that's maybe the better way, because it was between us and God and very few close friends. And that is when we experienced God, and we experienced God's help. We experienced God answering prayer and God meeting our needs. And went quite a low valley experience. And then the breakthrough. And the tremendous breakthrough just coming in an unbelievable way is what, whenever you're going through with God, even when you go through the valleys, when you know it's God, because the breakthrough is always mighty blessing. And there was mighty blessing with the breakthrough. So we go through that trial in our life, and we seemed to grow God a lot. We went to different meetings and read and prayed, and she kept singing, and seemed to get a good sense of God and a relationship with God. And this Sunday morning, in the Sunday morning service and all was over, and the minister was closing in prayer, and just when he was closing in prayer, I can't remember what he was praying, but this thing just seemed to come over me, and it's just as if it was touching the crown of the head, the sole of the foot, and this joy came over me. It was just as if it was touch from God. The wee song says the touch of God was so real that I tell you, I got a touch from God that Sunday morning, just all out of the blue. That was so real. And it just put such a joy in my heart, and the presence of God seemed to be on me, and nearly everywhere I went, even going to church and prayer meeting. When I went to prayer meeting, I couldn't sit and pray. It had such a presence of God, and even sometimes in the prayer meeting, it didn't even matter if I was praying or not. I couldn't have sat in the prayer. I had to get up in the presence of God, and it was just such an experience. But we weren't that long into the experience. The second trial come. And yet again, it was now a personal trial that affected both of us. And there's a wee verse in the Bible, Philippians 4. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known unto God. And yet again, we're through into the fire again. And we proved God in a tremendous way through this fire. And we just proved Him in such a way that I never would doubt Him. No man to this day could ever tell me. We proved Him in such a way that I would never doubt Him. And He brought us through trials and troubles bit by bit, day by day, again. And then shortly after that then, that's eyesight then. That eyesight come, and this was an extra burden at the time. I didn't know what was going to happen there. So maybe some of you don't know the story of Kat, but her testimony's on the Facebook if anybody wants to look it up. So we went through that trial there, and then through back and forward and through hospital experiences and all the rest, and try to rear children and keep things as normal as possible. We went through that trial and finished up with an MS. And so we went through them stages in life, and shortly after that then took pains in the chest myself and had to go to hospital and tested my heart and all, and said it wasn't my heart. So said there must be an infection in your body somewhere, but don't know where it is. So they gave me the strongest painkillers they could give me to see could they get this infection somewhere. So it finished up a couple of days later then, I was in a drip then of pneumonia. So I got out of hospital anyhow, And it took 6 months of getting myself back going again. We got to the hospital, could hardly walk to the back door there, a bit of breath. So it took me 6 months of getting straightened up again. And we got straightened up and got out of that then. Because that took the cancer. So all these things and all these trials that we come across, we have no doubt in our mind that God was with it. And God just answered prayer after prayer after prayer. And He met our needs. And we've just seen God's blessing upon our lives in so many ways. I just thank God that His hand was with us. My notes is all gone here. And that's when brothers, then when COVID came and the churches closed, and I took it so hard whenever the churches was closed, because the God that I knew and the God that brought us to this part in life, and I found out we couldn't go to our churches. Found out it was so difficult to accept. And whenever we realised that people could go on a Sunday and get a vaccination, and they could drive past and close churches, and they could come back home again and go to an off license and go to a supermarket, and we couldn't go to our church. And that time, her daughter Rachel was going through a tough time. Went to university and no job, and everything was closed down. And so I said, we get out of here and we go to somewhere. We'll go to somewhere that was like-minded, and we landed here. We just thank God for bringing us here and the blessing of us here, to find like-minded people, and encouraged us so much, and seeing our son and our daughter following us, and praying for our families, like so many other people. When we come to the prayer meetings here, it's such a blessing to see all people coming from north, south, east and west to pray for their families and pray for their loved ones. And eventually see what He done in Rachel's life, what she's done on Facebook as well, for anybody who doesn't know it. And to see the breakthrough and all the praying we've done for her, just to see the way God answers prayer and the miraculous way that He answered it, was once again, you just can't get over when God's hands in the thing. Even go through the trials at so low a point, when the breakthrough comes, the mighty blessing. And I just thank God to come here to people, like-minded people, and helped us all, helped our family through this time, Lord. And this time of COVID has been a blessing to our family. I know people has got rough doings, but as far as our experience was, it was a blessing. So this is the proven God that I present before you this night. I just want to leave these few verses before you in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 10. Finally, brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of His might. Put on the whole armour of God, that ye may be able to stand against the files of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness in this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, take upon you the whole armour of God, that ye may be able to withstand all the evil days, that having done all to stand. Amen.